And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you jump on Twitter and join in the conversation. Hashtag EU LCS. Giants and Roccat are gearing up on stage to go head-to-head. Just before we get to that matchup, I'd like to turn the spotlight to this weekend's CBLOL semifinals, where Keed Stars are taking on Kaboom, who took down Pain Gaming 2-0 in their quarterfinals.
Yeah, we'll have to see what that competition heats up to be, because it's going to take place on Saturday at 5 p.m. Central European Time. That's 9 a.m. Pacific for everybody over there in America.
Oh, yes, that's correct. Before we...
I was going to say, not everybody, just...
Not everybody. I mean, it's the time zone, right?
That's how time works.
Smile and nod, my friend. Before we dive into the game, let's take a look at who's playing on the blue side for Giants. It is Smitty J in the top lane, Wisdom in the jungle, X-Peppy in the mid lane, Sunstar the AD carry, Hustlin the support, new support, and of course Lozark, they're a coach.
And one thing that I don't need to overcomplicate here on the desk is the team that are on the red side. That is Roccat. We have Freddy122 in the top lane, Airwax in the jungle, Betsy in the mid lane, AD carriers Tab, support Noxiac, and their coach Grabs.
All right, and of course both of these teams currently sitting in 9th and 10th. We know Giants are currently locked, so what does this mean for Roccat? If they win and Splice lose...
Which has happened.
Roccat then ties for 8th place, and that means tiebreaker because their head-to-head is 1-1, and that means preferential seeding when it gets to the promotion tournament.
However, Giants can play spoilers. That is one of the only real things the Giants have to play for right now. As you mentioned, Giants are locked in 10th. And what that means is Giants will have to face the Copenhagen Wolves in the promotion tournament next week. And that, you know, is a game and a series that you'd think LCS team versus second tier or second place challenger team should be a fairly easy game. The problem is Giants haven't really shown us much. And the Copenhagen Wolves, on the other hand, did have a 5-game series against Huma. Now, obviously, Roccat and Splice are going to be playing for the seeding here as well. Their position depends on whether you go into that top side for match 2 or the bottom side for match 3, where Huma are already locked in.
And so much benefit to be in that top side for match 2, to watch your opponents, to get another best of 5 information out of them. So for Roccat, you know, they're playing for seeding, obviously. Giants are playing spoiler, but Giants, more importantly, this is just one more game. They made all these roster changes looking at the promotion tournament. Giants made a public-facing statement saying, hey, we're focusing on promo to come back in summer. And this is their last shot to find their sea legs going into promo.
The problem is they bring in a new support with 2 games to play. We looked at it when they had 4 games to play left, and we're thinking, well, you know, it's kind of all said and done. They just need experience as a lineup, and then they change another player. I mean, what's next? Going into the promotion tournament, they change their mid laner? They change everything? I mean, how many changes have you got to make until things just aren't working and there are bigger problems than just the players that you're playing with?
Yeah, difficult questions indeed. Even more challenges for Giants is how do they overcome Roccat, who picked up a win against Vitality yesterday in really spectacular fashion. Picks and bans underway. Giants have removed the Rammus and the Lulu. Freddy looked really good, really comfortable on Rammus last week. Played Renekton yesterday.
Yeah.
Left something to be desired, is what I'll say.
I was not a fan of the Renekton. I actually just feel like Renekton in general is a pick that only offers you that 1v1 presence in lane. Apart from that, he's a little bit tanky, has some damage. We've been seeing a couple of different builds with him that allows him to curve that out, but I honestly don't really want to see the Renekton again from Freddy here.
We'll see what they decide to do. Red side, today's game. Yesterday was blue and is fairly low down the draft. Corki and Jin were the last 2 bans. Nidalee is already off the table, so that allows, or encourages maybe, a near insta-lock on that Gragas. Wisdom has played it before, has some experience, has a lot of impact, and denies that from Airwax. But Airwax can just fall back on a number of champions. Kindred is up and available, Elise, Lee Sin, etc. So a lot of comfort junglers, depending on what he wants to play.
Yeah, we even, out of Wisdom yesterday, saw the Sejuani come out. Wasn't amazingly impactful. But then again, that was the very clean game against Origin that Origin bagged for themselves. So for Roccat, though, they have a couple of picks that, you know, have been big picks for them just in general. Noxiac has that Alistar up. This is one of the very few games that Alistar has actually been available on the current meta.
Yes, definitely the case. And also important to note, Betsy could gain access to Azir. It was so important in taking down Vitality yesterday. Getting the damage, getting the picks onto Hyanin. And we'll need to see how Roccat handle themselves today. Sivir and Alistair, safe combo. Not really revealing anything, and it's a comfort pick for Noxiac too.
Yeah, not really revealing anything. And, you know, you spoke about the picks yesterday. Airwax with pretty much the game-winning pick on Hyun. Won't have the Gragas today for that, but we'll see what he opts for from the jungle. Looking at it, Elise is available, should he want that. Maybe Elise in to come out for Airwax. Kind of expecting that kind of tier of jungler right now. We've kind of talked about the Jarvan, but I'm not actually expecting it now that we've seen a good 8 games played out with a lot of variance in the jungle. We haven't seen it yet.
Makes me a little sad. I was really hoping, because I know Jarvan was tearing up solo queue. At least in my elo it was. And it's always exciting to see that Cataclysm dunk. All right, what are we missing then in terms of picks and bans? With the Trundle locked in for Smitty J, which is what we're expecting.
Yeah.
Poppy into it.
We just saw that matchup go Trundle's way with Soaz, but I feel like a lot of that was Gamsu and the rest of Fnatic just not really playing around that matchup. And they got Gamsu the lead, but then let Soaz get back into the game. It was good priority by Origin to do that. Trundle could also go support, but we are expecting it for Smitty J in the top lane. Yeah. He's shown us Fiora and a couple of other picks, so we'll have to keep our eyes on that. But the jungle matchup has been locked in here, and Airwax actually opting not for any kind of team fighting, opting for his second most picked champion of Kindred.
Yeah, 3 games played, all of them losses. I mean, when you got 13 losses, it's going to be a bad win-loss ratio, but you know, I don't mind it so much. When I think of Airwax as a jungler, I do feel that he's a relatively aggressive player. He tends to try to get in your opponent's face, and I quite like the Kindred into Gragas relatively early. If he manages to get some support, you've got a pushing lane to the Sivir, you've got Poppy that can do relatively well early on, especially against a Trundle, if they get standards.
The other thing here is that the Kindred isn't really the role that's going to be tanky right now in this game. They've got an Alistair, they've got a Poppy as well, so it's actually fine to go that route, get a little bit more damage now, and they've left that blind pick for mid lane now that we have seen what Giants are opting for.
And it is the Azir, so Pepe was one of the first players to play Azir back before it was cool. And Betsy played it yesterday now that it is cool to pick up a win. LeBlanc is available if he wanted to run something like that into it. But I don't really know.
Lissandra's up. I mean, Corki's not available for Betsy. If Betsy just picks something with some lane presence, I don't think Giants are going to get to the late game to actually have this Azir become active. And, you know, that's been the biggest problem for Giants, is how fast they've lost games the last couple of times they've been on this stage. I like the Lissandra pickup here, if they do indeed go for it. Gives you the security against any Azir all-ins fairly early on. Gives you pick potential and the ability to play with a Sivir ultimate now. Sivir, Alistair, Lissandra, everything wants to go in. And this could be, you know, Roccat setting up for a fairly quick game.
The one thing I do like about Rocket's team composition is multiple damage threats. Lissandra, Sivir, Kindred, even Poppy to a certain extent. And then Giants, they're a little bit more committed to this Azir-Lucian combo with maybe Smitty J splitting off on a side lane. So I think there's options here. But I quite like... I like the skirmish possibilities that Roccat can put forward.
I do as well, Trev. They've kind of got one focus, and it's going all in. And the Giants right now, this is a game that they have to play that could go quite well when it comes to their preparation, because when we look at challenger games, typically what teams run is compositions that want to run at you, get some kills, and look to roll over you. There's not a whole lot of macro play when you look at tower trading and you know, sidewave pushing in Challenger. It doesn't happen as clean as we see it in the LCS, so if they can get a win against a composition like this, the Giants may have some hope in that series against Copenhagen Wolves.
Well, we'll have to see if they can play the map, because it's something they've not really been able to demonstrate. Over the last 2 weeks, they've lost all 3 of their games in an average of 23 minutes, which is an incredible time, and it just shows you how they're struggling, not only on a map perspective, but even from an individual player versus player, as they're being outclassed by the rest of the LCS. Will this be the final hurrah for Giants? Hashtag GIA win. Or will Roccat set us up for a tiebreaker with Splice? At the end of the day, that's what we've got to find out. Roccat, the favorites in this game. And thanks to Origin winning the previous game, it means we have a maximum of 2 games. Stress, that's all we can see.
Yeah, and unbelievably, by the way, there is one timeline of the 4 that remain that we have no tiebreakers.
25% chance.
That would be if Giants win and G2 win.
All right,
Those
so that
would be
means
the
no
results.
tiebreakers?
Yes, so.
I don't think that's the one I'm voting for. 75% chance for tiebreakers, I'm down for that.
I mean, normally I would go into a game, and even like when you look at a team that has 2 wins, a team that has 4 wins, you'd think, well, okay, that's actually one that could go either way, right? For me, though, the biggest problem with Giants is we're 9 weeks in, and they don't have a style. They talked about it back in week 6. You know, we don't know what style we should be playing. We're running out of time. Well, sorry, guys, time ran out, and you still haven't found it. You haven't found the meta. You haven't found your own play style that you want to play. And the problem is they've made so many changes right now that their style seems to be just try and patch things together and see if it holds. And unfortunately, it just hasn't held for them at all.
The really interesting question will be whether or not all of the struggles and the adversity that the Giants organization has faced will be able to teach the players going into the promotion tournament, because that's where all the eyes will be. We'll talk about the impact of that in a moment or two as Noxiac and Tabs hold hands and waddle into Sunstar and Hustlin's lane. They interrupt the Grump. Nobody went for the Krugs either. So.
But Tabs gets the push, is the thing that comes from this, is Tabs is able to get to the lane first with Ricochet. They have Alistair, of course, he can take the Relic stack, so already Roccat have about half a minion's health difference, which doesn't sound like all that much, but it does add up.
It does, especially in the race to level 2 when you've got Alistair.
Ooh, very interesting. Tabs is opted for the Bloodlust coming from the Runes of Masteries. I know a lot of the
a few times this weekend.
We have seen it, especially on Sivir. We've seen it a lot more, especially seeing it in Korea. LCK are playing a lot with it. I know a lot of the AD carries here in Europe are favoring Fervor just for the extra damage. I mean, we were speaking to Forgiven yesterday on the desk, and he was like, "Man, why would you give up the damage that comes from Fervor? Like, that's like over 100 damage when we get there. Like, come on, give me that. I want to be able to get the kills rather than just stay alive. I trust in my mechanics a lot more."
I'm all about the critter shade.
Yeah.
That's what I'm at. Sivir carried me through my placements, and I'm a big fan that she's back in the meta. Press R to win. It's a great mechanic, but talking about pressing buttons to win, double teleport for Roccat. So they're going to be playing those side lanes. Have the option to do so as Airwax makes an enemy of the dragon with a small dance of arrows. And of course, Peppy running the flash cleanse. I don't think that's a major surprise into a Lissandra lane. But got to see how he impacts the lane, because Airwax, so he's already coming in for a little gank. Hop, a skip, a jump, a wolf bite, and Peppy loses a lot of HP.
And all that stems from Airwax initially pushing into the jungle. Peppy kind of half panics and goes, okay, well, if I have to want to come across, I have to deny Betsy, so I need to shove that wave out. Airwax didn't actually get caught the first time. He just hopped over the wall, comes back for the repeat gank because Peppy, if he wants any of the farm that was in the wave in front of him, he had to push up for it. The fact that Peppy has to run cleanse here now punishes him because Betsy got the recall at the same time and got the farm from mid lane as well. He TP'd back to lane. He knows that wouldn't really have been utilized for the first cooldown time. Gets himself back with the lead.
Yeah, so well played. Small advantage in that lane matchup. I mean, Azir does need a little bit of time to scale up. Can push the wave. It's somewhat equalized by Lissandra's wave pushing power. Well, small pause.
Hopefully a small pause.
Yeah, that's true. I shouldn't actually say that without knowing, right?
Well,
the risk is great. We did catch a very brief glance of Smitty J into Fred. It's toe-to-toe lanes, even CS for now. But I want to see how that unfolds. Because I think I prefer Trundle when it comes to playing the map. I obviously prefer Poppy when it comes to team fighting. But in these two teams' hands, I actually think the roles are somewhat reversed. Because I think Smitty, with his team comp, maybe wants to team fight, and Freddy has been known for being alone in a lane for a long period of time. So it's quite interesting that like player and champion like role swap.
That's fairly true, but when you look at this composition from Roccat, man, if they catch somebody out of position with Sivir, Alistair, Lissandra, Kindred, Poppy, you can just say goodbye to them before they ever try and get themselves out of there alive. So Roccat are going to look for small numbers and see if they can group on multiple people. Just take him out. I actually don't think Roccat have a particularly bad team fighting composition themselves. Take into account Sivir damage in team fights. As long as she somewhat gets ahead. Gragas and Braum can be problematic for her later, Braum just kind of blocks everything, and Gragas just stands there and takes it.
Yeah. I want to see how well Hustling can perform, because yesterday left a lot to be desired. You can see Betsy on your screen at the moment. There is a graphical related bug in terms of Azir, which the guys are just busy looking into, restarting those clients and got the QA guys on stage. So we'll let you know how that resolves.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? That's what Betsy's thinking.
Oh, that's what Batman's thinking, because in about a week and a half, he's going to be answering that question. Too meta, not meta enough?
Come on, that fight. Everybody on the internet has always had that debate, though. Don't watch the trailer. This is PSA to anybody. If you are wanting to, have everything not spoiled in the movie, do not watch that trailer.
Yep.
I don't know why, but Hollywood has decided to put spoilers in trailers recently. It's annoying me. But there hasn't been too much of a spoiler in this game yet, when you look at it.
Standard lanes
for Roccat, though, in both mid and bot.
We're going to be in for an extended laning phase, which I don't mind seeing too much, because you can get a better taste of player ability, mechanical, decision making. And just as an update, all of the players are just disconnecting and reconnecting to the game. Once they've all refreshed their game clients, we'll do a quick little pause on pause, make sure it's working, and hopefully get back into this one. Because we've already touched on sort of all of the importance of the game. Roccat, if they win, because of the fact that Splice lost earlier, will guarantee themselves a tiebreaker for that 8th, 9th seed, and it sort of gives them the power to control their destiny in seeding for promotion tournament.
Yes, man, seeding is so critical right now. I know a lot of people will look at this and think, oh, Giants and Roccat, well, Roccat should have that one, right? That should be a done deal. Giants are struggling, so I know that maybe it seems like a straightforward one, but obviously you've got to play the game out. Coming into this week, we looked at a lot of games and we're like, well, Vitality take this one, H2K take that game. These are easy wins, and yesterday the world got turned upside down.
My quick picks got wrecked, got absolutely wrecked. I made what I thought were safe predictions.
Safe?
I really thought what I made were safe predictions and how the standings were going to go, and I could not have been more surprised.
Just when you thought it was safe to go on the telestrator.
It's not worth it.
Nope.
Because then, you just sit there and I'm like, yeah, there's no ways that, Rockat's going to be Vitality. Nope. And they do. And, there's equal parts to this, right? Because Vitality made mistakes, but Roccat were able to punish.
Yeah.
Roccat were able to, even with the Renekton, win team fights. And that was in large parts because of Betsy's Azir yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, game-winning play, I kind of have to look at Airwax, but you're all right. The Azir was a big, big part of it.
Yeah, Airwax manages to find the pick that secures the kill and wins the game. And we are back into the game as the reconnects seem to have resolved that graphical-related issue. Custom blocks off that Boomerang Blade from Tabs, and we're going to get back into this standard laning.
So second game we're seeing from Hustlin, second game of Braum. Yesterday he was playing super far forward in the lane, trying to maybe look for a dive with the Giants, and honestly that was what kind of ended up putting the game so far in Fnatic's favor. He got hooked in, that was kind of all she wrote on that one. I want to see more from Hustlin. He's a player that we haven't really seen too much from. Played on Giants Underdoges, which is kind of the challenger team that the Giants have had, and they never made it really into Challenger Series. They had a showing in the qualifiers, but weren't really up to that level. And it's honestly something that I was looking at a team like Giants of, well, if you've got these two teams, why is there a situation where the players you're building aren't coming from your second team? And finally we're starting to see it, but it's so late on in the season.
Yeah. We'll have to see if it has any impact. Because unfortunately yesterday Origin looked in a completely different class.
They look the same as they look today.
Yes,
I would say.
I think that's very, very true. It's a different mid laner. But props to FLICKR for stepping in, listening to the team, apparently saying they wanted his picks. Well, I'm not sure why, but he managed to make it work. Wisdom has snuck his way into this bush. The vision just out of range, so Roccat.
Sneaky.
Not going to see him. Body slam available, but the Winter's Bite does not find anybody.
Noxiac has pushed up. Wisdom's waiting for the time. Body Slam Flash would be available on Tabs. You probably can't spell shield it coming out of the bush.
This is so long. I can't get over this. Dash forward, Sunstar manages to find the piercing light. Noxiac's in trouble. Exhaust flashes away. Summoner heal used as well. And after all that time, 3 summoner spells for 0.
That was, I mean, a lot used defensively from Roccat to stay alive there, but that was underwhelming from Wisdom. From as long as he spent down there. I mean, it's difficult to burst the spell shield first in this matchup. I mean, Hustlin would have had to have maybe looked to try and get that Q out early and then lead into a body slam flash coming from Wisdom, but that was a rough one. Wisdom spent a lot of time down there. If they can capitalize now on those summoners being down, that will be the difference.
Yes, that's what I'm looking to see. Whether or not Giants are able to punish the lack of summoners. They do have Sunstar and Hustlin getting closer and closer to level 6.
Closer, but he's not there yet. Wisdom now is 6, so we'll have that ultimate available if that happens again. Smitty J is 6 with teleport, as is Freddy. So fairly standard game, standard lanes here as well. And, I mean, we haven't had a lane swap, and we've had about the same amount of action as you would expect on a lane swap. One attempted gank, one in the mid lane from AWAX as well, but these two teams are being very slow to begin this game.
Neither junglers got the ability, like maybe pre-6 to really want to fight. They both want access to their ultimates. They both want their items to start scaling up. AWAX has got 1 or 2 stacks from his passive already.
You also look at it realistically, though. It's like, well, you've got a bottom lane with a Sivir. She's going to be able to kind of back away from everything with a
and
spell
Alistar.
shield. You got a mid lane with a Lissandra and an Azir, who both are able to get away from, you know, any unfortunate circumstances. And then top lane is just going to trade a little bit.
Top lane's a thing. Dude, I think we need to look at top lane. Thank you, observers. Smitty J and Freddy, they're farming 70 to 65. They've both recalled, come back to lane, teleports are up. Both got access to their ultis. But it's those two sort of super exciting tank battles that takes a long time to become impactful.
Yeah. I mean, I've not got too much there on the excitement factor for Poppy versus Trundle for a laning phase.
I've got an idea for a Trundle skin.
Okay.
But the only problem is it doesn't actually, it isn't going to be understood by so many people.
Okay.
I want them to make a cricket player Trundle. You know, like Shaun of the Dead style. You know, anybody who's seen Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah,
that cricket bat. I'll expand on my idea in a second because AWAX will find Wisdom, even though it's in Wisdom's jungle. Wisdom's looking for support. Sunstar and Hustlin come up. Winter's Bite will dissuade AWAX. And to go back to the reason I talk about is South Africa lost to England in the T20 earlier today. It was real close.
I can be happy about this.
Yes.
I can be happy for once. I can be happy about England winning because the little known fact is the UK team is actually called the England team. So I'm happy that they beat South Africa.
You can't claim that just because you're Welsh.
No, I can. There are Welsh players probably in that team. I don't even know. Nobody in Wales cares about cricket enough. But what I do care about is his bottom lane gank. Here goes Sivir.
All right, I'll stay on the game for now. Body slam onto Betsy. Barrel under the tower. Betsy self-casts the tomb as AWAX looking for Wisdom. It's jungler on jungler combat. Red buff will help him out. Tower shot kills Freddy. It's first blood to Sunstar. Roccat. This time's gone awry. The Sand Soldiers arise and they conquer Roccat. A triple kill for Sunstar.
Big overcommit from Roccat. They're trying to go behind the tower. Some people chased Wisdom out. Some people were stuck in the middle of the fight, and Freddy was stuck between a pillar and a hard place because Smitty J got himself into the fight as well. They managed to take down the top laner to start it off, and that was such a good start. Peppy wants it.
Oh, he's gonna find it. Emperor's Divide. Sharima sends her regards.
Oh, is this it for Giants? Is this perhaps the beginning of a good setup at this point? Look at this. Roccat want to go in. From here, they don't pick a target straight away. Tower had no aggro on them, so that actually wasn't too much of a problem. But at this point, Roccat come out of the initial dive here, and they just haven't called one focused target here. And Hustlin is able to get down a lot of autos, crack that passive multiple times. Pepinero is doing so much damage from the side, just on these Azir soldiers, not powerful enough really to chunk people down, but that's where Sunstar will take over every single time. 3-0 Lucian now is something to be feared.
It really, really is. Roccat, 2,000 gold, given away by a poorly coordinated, poorly executed dive. And they have to play from the back foot. Luckily for Roccat, they've got good wave clear from Sivir, pretty good wave clear from Lissandra when she can get in range. So that will at least allow them to buy some time. But we've got to make sure that they're in the right lane at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, Peppy got himself down to the bottom lane fairly quickly there, actually, considering he's no teleport as well. Did roam down. Smitty J and Freddy want to trade. Freddy...
Extended one. Subjugate's still available for Smitty, though.
Yeah, here comes
I think he's going to use it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Look. Wow,
I mean,
Tab's coming in.
There.
Smitty. No, holding on. Frozen Domain comes out. Flash away. It was close. It was close.
I mean, it wasn't. It was like a yes or no.
Hey, I never said a time. I said he's going to use it.
Oh,
this
I
game.
See how it is. Okay.
This game.
Wow. That's... There's a rhyme, a word that rhymes with Crepo's first name that describes what you just... It's a fast stretch, but I can't say it on broadcast.
Yeah, you lost me with that one, dude. Too obscure.
Oh, it'll get tweeted.
Too obscure. Rockat's going to even out the tower trade as Sunstar takes the bottom one, Tabs takes the top. Rockat's still 2k gold down. Essence Reaver already picked up by Sunstar thanks to the triple. A number of pink wards. Now we need to see how Giants use their pink wards.
Yeah, We already had one. Crowd are happy about a pink ward going down. Does not bode well.
Don't remind them.
I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep it on the down low. Crowd have been very hyped today, actually.
I'm a big fan of the chants. Yeah. Yesterday, the H2K UOL chants that were back and forth, that was like really cool to hear. And then today, Origin Fnatic, that just took it up a whole other notch.
It did. Airwax is looking to take things up a notch. Maybe...
And again, we mentioned this in Picks and Bans. He likes to play aggressive. He likes to play in the enemy jungle, steals away a camp, adds another stack to the passive.
Had the rest of his team there, though, this time, and had the numbers overlap here as well. It's not like last time they came down to this area of the map where it was even and Roccat overextended. Thing is, this is going to get traded topside. So now Roccat probably going to just swing up to the Dragon here. We'll trade it for the Rift Herald. It should be a fairly even trade between these two teams. That's what I would envision being the play. Airwax hops over.
Case.
He is in vision, though. There is a pink ward on the Dragon as well.
A small advantage for Roccat as they will get this Dragon. I assume at some point. Yep, Airwax is just taking a fair amount of damage.
He's kindred at this point. You can take it.
No worries.
As soon as you get that extra health coming back, it's surprising how low you can go and still be fine.
Right, Rift Herald was secured by Giants over in the top lane. Pretty good vision being placed inside that top quadrant, the red buff area of Roccat, and they'll be trading buffs as Airwax secures one and backs away. The potential for shenanigans in the middle lane is high, but only if Pepe sticks around. That doesn't seem to be the case.
Trevor, you can't just call shenanigans. You can't just call it needlessly.
I can.
But there's no shenanigans going on.
I said the potential.
Oh, wait, there's going to be shenanigans.
Listen, it was St. Paddy's Day yesterday. I heard a lot of people using the word shenanigans.
Yeah.
That was a stretch. That was
a stretch. I didn't know where you were going on that.
On the hunt, we'll send everybody towards Sunstar. Freddy's got a flash available.
He's
flash pin against the wall.
Though. I mean,
not the most useful of teleports.
Well, I mean, they didn't overcommit this time, which is one thing as a saving grace from Roccat at this point. But you know, they were looking for it, and that's a big TP cooldown used now. Smitty J will have his available. He's going to be able to sit out there and stop Freddy from really doing too much in this game. Roccat right now, they're kind of botching a good few engages and invades.
Oh, that's for sure. Roccat are going to have to stall for time because of how far behind they are. Oh, this is going to be trouble for Betsy. Look at this, Wisdom. He's going to find Betsy. Body slam flat, pinned against the wall. Self-cast on the tomb. A knock-up onto Wisdom, and all of a sudden, Wisdom gifts one back.
Oh, gifts one back. This game has suddenly all been about overcommitting to fights here, and you'd have told me that one day Roccat would beat Vitality and the next day be struggling against Giants. I would very much so, like talking about Fedwin and Pecky, called you a liar. Here goes the next fight.
All right, Empress Divide on top of the Lamb's Respite. Airwax stays alive, flashes away with his life. Smitty J and Hussein come under the tower. It's the 4th kill of the game for Sunstar. Now Noxiax the target. Unbreakable Will is down, and after Giants looked like that was going to turn around, they managed to come away with another kill in the bag onto Betsy. It was a very good dive from Peppy and Wisdom.
It was a lot better.
Until
Peppy didn't quite get himself, get the Kindred out. So Wisdom dies very early on. This is the initial dive. So that one wasn't so great. The turnaround that comes from Giants here, though, is they chunk Airwax and know that, well, we can displace him fairly far. Didn't quite get him out of the Lamb's Breastplate, but Smitty J from behind was the big factor on this one. They got the damage down. Peppy swaps himself back out. From here, this game's all going to rely on Sunstar. Pretty much, if Sunstar can get as much damage as he is in these fights out time and time again, Giants should be able to carry this one home. The Azir will provide the later game damage as well, so they should be fine.
Especially with a Trundle Gragas Braum to protect him. Airwax may be punished. Nobody from Giants is going to chase them over the wall, and Airwax uses that dance of arrows to escape unscathed, despite playing fairly recklessly. He keeps himself up and going, stacking that stacking the Devourer until it is sated.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot more sated, or Devourer at least, on Kindred. Used to be that you go Warrior into, just standard items, but recently we've been seeing so much more, and obviously you can stack that up off the Rift Scuttler.
I missed.
Not so much off the assist of Rift Herald anymore.
No,
so it used to be a fairly big factor.
Root in place, that's a flash forward from Hustlin. Sunstar's the target. He's sent to the base, already taken down. Teleport will be coming in from Smitty J, but it's a double kill for Roccat. They lose one in reply. Betsy's down. Airwax is trying to run away, but Smitty J's dropping the club onto Airwax for a double kill.
Drops the club. At that point, though, everything falls out as Sunstar was able to, dropped at the beginning of that one before Smitty J really got into this fight.
Noxiax could be in trouble. No, not going to be chased from Smitty J. Wisdom should be able to deny.
Yeah, Wisdom's going for the execute at this point, but you could see what Roccat were trying to do in the middle lane there, trying to push out, but Peppy got himself back there to clear the waves out. Kept himself alive. Oh, Peppy, you've gone a little too far at this time.
Let's find
three
out.
People closing.
Cleanse is available, and the divide, the slide, the glide! He makes it out.
I'm not sure why Noxiac flash committed onto that. I mean, Peppy's going to QE himself out of that every single time.
Well, if he could have got in there, unfortunately could not.
No, honestly, I feel like the distance was just too far. Like, I really don't feel like you can close that in that amount of time. I'm going to rewatch it.
See the coaches on screen chatting about the current state of the game. 3,500 advantage for Giants. Stress, as we started the game, you had talked about what this game could mean. Noxiac is in trouble as the culling takes him very low, forces the unbreakable, and the wave is cleared out there by Tabs of Sivir.
Yeah, I really am not keen on what Roccat tried to do there in the middle lane. Freddy flashed over as well. It would have been fine if Noxiac didn't have to come in vision of the minion wave before he actually made it there. Freddy and Noxiac were right at about the same timing that as long as Peppy had no idea, double flash in should have been enough to have locked him down. Problem is, Noxiac gets spotted, rumbles the play, Peppy's out before he even knew Freddy was coming and just made it all too easy for Peppy.
It looked really cool too.
And that's what counts. You know what else looks cool?
Tell me.
When you take down Rift Herald, right as Baron's about to spawn.
Yep.
Sick, man.
That's teamwork. Giants are going to secure their second Herald. Roccat looking to secure their second Dragon. It's very important for them if they manage to set up any sieges.
Yeah, well, I guess if that's teamwork, we just found out what Rockat's favorite dish was, Dragon. There have been 2 of them in this game so far, all going over to Roccat.
I don't know if it's on the menu at Zanzibar, but we'll have to find out. As Roccat are struggling to come back in this game. Now remember, I was getting to this point before the siege in the middle lane.
Was this before or after the
Giants,
subjugate that you were talking about?
If Giants win this game and G2 win the next one,
okay,
we will have no tiebreakers.
Is there an echo in here?
I know, but it's a 20-minute delay.
Yeah, I know, it's like 20 minutes.
Just letting you know. Just reminding you. I know you struggle with these pieces of information, Stress.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't written down. Steadfast presence is down. Smitty J is turning this one around. Keeper's verdict will knock Smitty up in the air. Airwax is coming. Lamb's Respite maybe needed to save Freddy's life. A flash forward. Can't get in range. The Respite comes down. Freddy stays alive. Teleport's coming down for Betty, and Smitty J is still standing. It took 4 members of Roccat to take him down. Hustlin dropped the Fisher, but it will not be enough to extend the fight. And Roccat, wow, they threw everything at Smitty.
But Freddy somehow managed to survive that as well. Smitty ended up dropping with so many members, but Tabs ultimately ends up taking the mid tower at the same time, so Giants committed a little bit too much maybe to keep Smithy J alive. Freddy right there kept himself right on the very small amount. If that buckler hadn't come up, I actually think he probably would have died. We'll take another look at this super extended fight. Freddy right now, just, I mean, there's not too much going on there. This is Roccat committing 3 people plus the TP. That's actually fairly big, I will be honest.
Interesting that Wisdom actually did not throw the explosive cask super early. Did the barrel roll first. And catch a glimpse of Pepe clearing out the Krugs, as you do. But very importantly, that kill, plus the fact that they got Sunstar a little earlier, means Roccat is closing that gold lead. They are now down only 1,000 gold at 23 minutes. But, you know, if you step back and you look at both teams, you look at the misplays around the tower dives and the decision-making when it comes to, you know, teleports, you can see why these two teams have struggled all split long.
You really can. I mean, the problem is, as we talked about, Giants don't have their identity, and right now for Roccat, they're running a composition that wanted to just go all-out aggressive. And that got slowed down ever since that early dive failed.
Oh, Airwax manages to dance over the wall. Still playing with his life a little bit as he goes for those invades. And Smitty J is terrifying. Trundle into Poppy. Remember, Poppy was picked into Trundle. This was a matchup that Roccat opted into and then went with standard lanes.
Well, Betsy's got forced away. That's enough to take down the turret.
Noxiac has booted Sonstar back. Airwax is looking for a kill. Sonstar's exhaust won't take him down. Lamb's Respite will give a heal, but it's Smitty J that comes out on top. Tabs goes down as Sonstar decides to re-engage. A 2-for-1. Here comes Pepe. The Emperor's Divide's already been used. They'll drop Freddy where he stands. Betsy slowed down as he takes the claw to avoid the doom. And it's a 1-for-3.
Betsy just couldn't get to the fight. Giants, maybe the call here is Baron. They are fairly low here. Betsy's no TP, Freddy down for 35 seconds, so Azir will have good clear here. And between Wisdom and Hustlin, they should be able to... don't stand all the way behind it. Don't stand behind it. There's more damage from there.
Gonna be...
They will get it and drop fairly low. Nobody from Roccat can take him out. Good call in the end.
Upset week for sure.
Well,
Giants look to upset the apple carts.
Look at Wisdom pushing back Betsy the entire time this fight was going on. And from here, Sunstar, even though he gets the focus down, there was a lot of damage came from Airwax onto him. While Sunstar was exhausted, good sidestep on the Boomerang Blade here, but Betsy still not able to get into the fight. All the time, the Azir soldiers as well are just zoning him away, and that means Sunstar has enough room that he hasn't got to worry about Alessandra getting into his face and shutting him down. So Giants right now are really reacting quite well to what Roccat are trying to do in this game. They're denying so many engages here with the Azir ultimate, with the Gragas, and with the Trundle.
It's just punishing decisions, basically, is the real theme of this game. When somebody's out of position, when Airwax gets chunked out in the jungle, doesn't have the support, Giants go very aggressive, set themselves up a dive, and all of that has been enabled by Smitty J just constantly pushing these side lanes, constantly drawing attention from Roccat in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about how this is perhaps the test for Giants of if they can do this against a team that you would expect is fairly similar level to their competition now in the promotion tournament. I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, actually, this is looking better from Giants. We haven't really seen Smitty J doing these side lane pushes all that often. It was made easier by, Roccat making mistakes, and Betsy's too far up.
For the record, Giants have got more than double the kills in this game than their 3 previous games combined. And a lot of that is thanks to Wisdom trying to make the plays. He's been punished once or twice, but at 25 minutes, the inhibitor turret is down. Keeper's verdict sends only Hustlin away. Wisdom and Smitty J are still on the front line. The inhibitor will be the target once Noxiac goes down. Giants have got a minion wave, and they've got only 3 members defending.
50 seconds of Baron is left as well with this wave. This is Nexus Towers going down.
This might just be the game. Emperor's Divide onto Airwax. Giants, in their final game of the spring split, managed to punish Roccat at every turn. And in 26 minutes, Giants defeat Roccat. It's a tough victory, right? Bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because yes, you've picked up a win, a confidence-building win against a team that is arguably closer to CS levels in Roccat.
Yeah.
And SmittyJ have played spoiler. They've reduced the possibility of tiebreakers to 1 game. And they guarantee that Roccat will be playing Huma in the first round of the promotion tournament.
Splice also locked that 8th spot, so they will await the winner of Copenhagen Wolves and Giants on the 2nd day of the promotion tournament. As you said, a bittersweet victory, perhaps, for the Giants. Roccat will look at that game and think, well, we had the option to maybe seal a little bit more of our fate. Look for this rematch potentially in a best-of-5, depending on the Wolves-Giants result.
And can I say the Captain Obvious line for a moment?
Okay.
What Giants have also revealed in this victory is how aggressive Wisdom can be on Gragas with the body slam flashes, for better or worse, and the proficiency of SmittyJ on Trundle. Now we know just how meta Trundle has become in the last 2 weeks, but the Copenhagen Wolves are going to be looking at that going, there are things to take away. There is information to be gained from this particular match.
Especially when you look at for the Copenhagen Wolves, one of their prize picks has been Poppy, that exact matchup in the top lane, so there are options available there.
It just means ban Trundle.
Yeah, it does mean ban Trundle right now. I mean, honestly, the way these games are playing out, I'm actually kind of erring on that side for the majority of the meta as it is. We've seen a drop off of Nautilus, seen a lot of Poppy and Trundle, and seen a lot of Trundle being successful there as well. So, I mean, we also can't really take anything away from Sunstar. Triple kill early, he's able to carry that through. Survived very low in some team fights, got himself through. So we saw something out of the replacements from Giants. He's taken the 4th game to do it, but the Koreans coming in are finally showing us some kind of level that we were expecting.
You have to go all the way back to the early game. That triple kill that Sunstar picked up, I mean, that was delivered on a near silver platter by Roccat. They said, here we go, have a killing spree, get yourself an Essence Reaver on us. And it was good to see Giants playing proactively. It was disappointing to see Roccat make the mistakes they did when you consider they picked up a win yesterday. So I'm interested to hear what our analyst desk has to say about that Giants victory.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And well, also thank you to Febevan for joining us here. We know it must not be easy after those 2 days, but thank you very much for joining us. How's it going now after in that game?
Yeah, it is what it is. We're just going to try to take the most out of it, out of the games. We already learned a lot from these losses today and yesterday, and sometimes it's just good to lose because it just makes you improve. And if you just keep winning, then at one point you will lose against a better team, like an international tournament or something. And I think we are just going to work hard for playoffs and show how good we are at that point.
All right, we will indeed see. Now, this game, of course, Giants completely running away with it. After yesterday, we didn't give them any chance. They came online.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like this Giants lineup wouldn't have a chance of actually winning a game.
I mean, he even had a special line prepared.
Yeah, no, like, honestly, I was ready to say that the current Giants lineup, with the way they've been playing in the last 3 games, ignoring this one, was like one of the worst lineups we've seen in the EU LCS since, like, Dragonborns back in Season 3.
That's even, I mean, you were going to say it was the worst Giants lineup you've seen, and now you're going even bigger picture?
No, I mean, just overall.
Oh, okay.
It technically, I mean, yes, Giants have been struggling before, but like, even overall, because they lost in like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 23 minutes, and they couldn't do anything. And in this game, almost classic Roccat in a sense, when they just beat Vitality and we get some hopes for them, they throw everything away, like they dive in the bot lane on the tower, they give away triple kills, too over-aggressive, and couldn't teamfight at all.
Yeah, this also means that they're not competitive anymore in terms of the promotion tournament. I mean, they go into 9th place, and they'll be playing against Huma. Giants, of course, in 10th place. Actually, yes, and playing against the Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah.
I mean, for Giants, it must be a great feeling. Like they know they can do it versus the level of teams that they should do it against.
Yeah, but then they need to win that match, and then they still
Yeah, exactly.
only get into that double elimination bracket. But I just want to ask, like, Roccat used to have this air about them that they would always win in scrims, but when they got to the stage, this obviously was a different Roccat lineup. Is that the same for Roccat right now, or are they just not that good in scrims either? Or can't you say, maybe?
I think in scrims, we haven't scrimmed them so much lately, but usually when we scrim them, they're all good individually, like especially their mid and jungle. They always play really aggressive, and they usually get the advantage and a bit of gold lead, and then they don't manage to get it into a map lead for the whole team. And this game, it was just, they made a mistake in the early game. They get triple killed by an enemy, and after that they lost tower, and then it was just pretty much over after that, because Giants didn't actually play bad this game. They actually managed to close it out well, and yeah, they showed pretty good today.
Yeah, that was actually the difference here today. Giants was playing the map better than Roccat, and for Roccat, that's kind of sad to see. If after a full season progression, with some roster changes, yes or no, they're still struggling to find the correct ways to kind of close out these games, play on the map. Sometimes it clicks and they snowball, and or they have these genius fights like against Vitality.
Maybe more luck than
is it
knowing
an
what
outlier?
to do.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, and taking some chances with the plays.
We can't tell right now.
I mean, this Giants lineup here were not supposed to win a game because they just made these changes, pulling in the Koreans. We saw the way they were playing before, so full credit to them for winning a game. Gives them a bit more hope coming into the promotion tournament as well. And with time, yeah, sure, there's more potential there with the players. It just didn't click yet at all. And credit, of course, to Smitty J, Pepe as well. Sunstar with the triple kill early.
Yeah, definitely. As a final note, if we look at, we have our team Splice, Roccat and Giants are now in the promotion tournament. Who of those teams have the best cards to make it back in the LCS, you guys think, Febby?
It's really hard to tell for me. I really have no idea, actually.
Who would you think has the most potential from what you've seen in this split to come back strong if they get another one?
Probably Giants, because they just got 2 Koreans in their team, and Koreans are always promising, for me at least. And I think if they just keep working hard, then I think they should be at a good track.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like Giants need to change something on the back end, though, if they want to do that. Like, they've continuously had influx of talent or new players into it, but they don't seem to stick or work. So maybe we need to start questioning like Giants' infrastructure, structure, like an analyst, coach, whatever, if they can fix that. As for the teams, from watching Huma and Copenhagen Wolves, I mean, it wouldn't be too surprising if Giants, Splice, and Roccat all made it back into the LCS, especially if Giants win their first match, they get 2 more chances kind of to make it back in there, because the level between Copenhagen Wolves and Huma wasn't all that high.
When it comes to coming back summer split and getting better, I do agree on Giants having some good players now. Again, Smitty J impressed me in the top lane. So with more time, and maybe if they manage to get a stable setup around them, I think they could actually get a lot better. Just they need more time, obviously. That's my concern for Splice. I don't really see Splice becoming a fantastic team with the current lineup they do have. I feel like they, in a way, almost already hit the ceiling, in a sense, and it's not even that high of a ceiling, and that's the problem for Splice. So I think if they come back, they will once again just fight to probably avoid a promotion tournament. I'm sure. Do you agree, Fabi?
Yeah, I don't think Splice's players are that good individually, and neither they are not working as a team that well, I think, in the game. And I think they just really lack that individual skill, because they always get behind a gold lead because of their individual skill, and they just get killed, and then they lose, and then they slowly lose, and usually they don't get a lead, and it's really hard for them to get the lead. And even if they get the lead, they still don't manage to close out the game. So they need a lot more time, and they need to work on the individual skill as well.
Yeah, they need some like volatility. If you don't have a single playmaker that you know, like every game you have like a 50% chance of this guy either doing something crazy or going off, then your like gameplay just becomes so predictable, and that's what happens to Splice every time. They get predicted, they try and move, guess what, the enemy's ready, suddenly they slowly fall behind, and then they lose.
Yeah, well, and very interesting, but we will see everything unfolding in the promotion tournament starting Thursday. However, here in the LCS, there's one more regularly scheduled match to play out in the 2016 Spring Split between G2 Esports and the Unicorns of Love. And as we go, we'll hear what Perks thinks of his rookie LCS split.
This split has been pretty good for me. I think I played really good individually, and and we played really good as a team, so I'm really happy with how things are going. Well, it's kind of just a dream, but from Challenger to winning EU LCS is highly possible right now. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy. I think every team in top 6 can take a series out of anyone. So it's gonna be hard, but I think maybe we can do it.